Smackdown review for the March 7th episode of Smackdown. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling. Ha!
Yeah, you could argue after Elimination Chamber here, SmackDown's got a bunch of momentum built up. I feel like a lot of the storylines or a lot of the people there kind of just dragged along after Chamber. Some new life injected into that first SmackDown after that. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, let's see what we get. We had a great live stream today for it. Thank you all for being there. We also live streamed WWE 2K25. If you want to see that, it will be in our live section of our YouTube, so you can go watch that entire thing. Thank you all for being there. But, like, follow, and subscribe if you like this type of content. And let's share this with everybody else. Let's start growing this community. But let's get down to it. Show starts during the walk-ins to the arena. Drew McIntyre attacks Damian Priest, and it's literally like a 5-second thing. Damian Priest is just walking in, minding his own damn business, and boom, Drew attacks him and walks off. And that's how we started the night.
Yeah, he hits him with that Carmelo Hayes, Akira Tozawa punch in the back of the head.
Yeah.
That was
out.
it.
Out like a light.
That was it.
And then
is that a Travis Scott reference?
But we're sitting here and we're like, who starts after this monumental heel turn? Who's going to start the show? Well, the man who probably people forgot about, given the circumstances of John Cena, Randy Orton's back. And Randy Orton's coming out to talk about his Kevin Owens things, but he did start out talking about Mr. John Cena because, of course, they probably have the longest rivalry in wrestling right now ever. Like in current day wrestling, they probably have the longest time frame of being rivals. And he said, as long as I can remember, John Cena has been at the very top of the WWE, but now he's hit rock bottom. But he says, I digress. So he makes a little dad joke on that one.
He was very proud of that.
He was proud of it. I was like, Randy, you're good, Randy. You're good. But he goes, KO has always pushed the boundaries, and I actually respect Kevin Owens, the wrestler. Kevin Owens, the man, though, I have a problem with. He's a jealous man. He's jealous of Cody and tried ending his career all because he was jealous about the gold around his waist. And KO and Sami, of course, they fought, but they became brothers again. And now he tried to end Sami Zayn's career because he realized he's not as big of a star as Sami Zayn. And then, of course, he tried to come after me for almost no reason other than me helping my best friend. But why is he jealous? He's a former champ. He's had a great career. If you ask any up-and-comer what they want to be, they probably want to be just like Kevin Owens was and have a career like him. But when I walked out there and RKO'd him at the Royal Rumble, something came back. The voices came back in my head. They were talking to me. And I wanted to punt him. And one day, very soon, I will punt him and I will show Pat McAfee that he's the second best punter in all of the WWE. And he drops the mic. I'm going to pop the hell out of this. Randy Orton's back. He's talking that shit on KO. What more do you want?
Yeah, I'm going to pop it. We get a dad joke. We get the return of Randy. We get that voice as Randy. How can you not like this? Yeah. I mean, it's pretty solid. Checked all the boxes. Did everything we thought that it would do. Kind of interesting for him to say, I heard those voices in my head, and it's been 10 years or 9 years, I guess he said, since he's heard them. It's like, well, yeah, I know we haven't had the punt in so long, but you didn't hear those voices one time? You didn't hear those voices one time in the 9 years? So I kind of laughed at that, but he says we're going to get the punt. He's going to deliver on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all this was. It was just like him saying, yeah, I'm looking to punt this guy, and all of us just being like, you know what, Randy? We're down. Let's see you punt him. Can't wait for it. That's that.
Little hint at Cena, obviously down the road one last time. So,
for sure.
Did everything they needed to do there.
For sure. We'd have Tiffany and Chelsea Green arguing in the back because obviously Chelsea was mad about how Tiffany made her look last week in Canada on SmackDown. And so Tiffany decided to challenge the Secret Hervis, Piper Niven, to a match. And Chelsea was like, no, she works for me and I have a match later tonight, so she can't. And then Nick Aldis is like, Chelsea, you're not the boss. They have a match right now. So they go out there, Tiffany and Piper Niven do, and Tiffany would absolutely dominate until Piper would send her over the top rope, do like her apron jump off rolling senton that she does to people. Piper Niven's great, but Tiff would obviously have a big comeback. She'd hit her top rope swanton bomb, and Piper would absolutely respond with some more offense after that. But she would climb up to the top rope and go for one of her top rope maneuvers, like one of the where she sits down off it basically, and miss. And when she missed, she hit the mat. Tiffany popped up to the top rope, hit her prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany would win this, but as she was celebrating, Charlotte Flair does attack. She attacks the back of Tiffany's knee. Looks like she really gets her. Like, Tiffany kind of fell awkwardly, though. Starts beating her up, puts her in the figure 4 that turns into the figure 8 like only Charlotte Flair could do. This was all good. I like it. You get a good match from Tiffany here, and then you finally get some actual contact, some physical altercation between Charlotte and Tiff, I got to pop it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. We get Tiffany once again, week in and week out, it seems, wrestling. I know we kind of had a little bit of a problem with some of her in-ring promo stuff. The promo with Chelsea backstage that was earlier today or whatever was really good. It was really nice to see. Okay, so she is really good there. A little bit trouble translating that, but you get Tiffany in the ring, which is her strong suit. Fantastic stuff. Piper's good. Underrated, I would say. You kind of get a little bit of stuff with Piper that we'll get into later. And then, like you said, ultimately, Charlotte coming out, putting her hands on Tiffany, showing her that she's better, showing her that she warned her, kind of just once again continuing that I'm better than you. Somebody had a great point in our live stream that it's kind of the same story that Gunther and Jay are doing.
I was about to point that out.
And as soon as that point was brought up, I was like, oh, wow, it is 100%.
Both of the Royal Rumble winner feuds right now are being booked the exact same way. You have Jay, who's the ultimate underdog, going up against Gunther, but then you have Charlotte, who is now making Tiffany look like the ultimate underdog going against Charlotte at Mania. Does that get a little boring at this point going to Mania? I know that we have a bunch of time for these two feuds to ramp up, but at the moment, it does feel like two of our main 4 title feuds are kind of being booked the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think you could look at it and say that you want a little bit something different, but I think Gunther and Charlotte, I think, are so great that they're going to be able to put their own spin on it to where it's not maybe as noticeable. I mean, we're a few weeks into it now at this point, or a month or so, and I didn't really notice it until I got pointed out. So I think that they're going to be able to kind of tweak it the way that they want, and I think we are going to get some extra added elements. Maybe not so much on the Jay Gunther side, but I think the Tiffany Charlotte side, I think we'll get a little bit something different, a little bit of a twist. We'll get Tiffany kind of standing up for herself once again.
Yeah, I agree. My only thing is I'm okay with it on the Tiffany Stratton side. I would much rather Tiffany just stand up and like go back and forth with Charlotte in the way that I assume that they would do, which is basically like Tiffany has just as much attitude as Charlotte, and so they bicker back and forth that way. That's what I wanted. But given that Tiffany doesn't have the resume of a Jey Uso, this underdog thing kind of makes more sense. I don't necessarily like it as much on the Jey Uso side, because while he comes out every week and he says that I'm the underdog, my back's against the wall, nobody thinks I can do it, it's like, well, let's look at your last year, dude. You've main evented WrestleMania 39, one of the nights. You won the Royal Rumble. You won the Intercontinental Championship. Like, your whole year was to build up to this moment of like you have enough stock in yourself. So I don't necessarily buy into it with Jey Uso right now. But in terms of both of them being the same, we got a bunch of time left. I'm not worried about it, but I can see where people come from on it.
Yeah, and real quick before we move on, the only thing that I would say to that is you got the same thing with Jay with the IC stuff before Jay eventually won that. Now you could say, oh, well, he didn't really have a leg to stand on because he didn't have a singles title. But he did have a decent resume still.
Yeah.
So we got it there, and then we got it leading up to the Rumble, and then the Rumble happened, and then we got it again. I just don't think that that's really going to change. Now, whether that's right or wrong, better for worse, you could probably debate that, but I feel like that's all we're probably going to get there.
Agreed. We would go on. Nick Aldis was in front of a whiteboard with all the tag teams of SmackDown on it, and he went through an entire breakdown. It's actually great. If you haven't, the tag team division on SmackDown can get their story is a little convoluted at this point. It's a pretty good breakdown.
Spell that.
No. And Nick Aldis has a dry erase marker, and he's connecting all the dots that have happened over the past 2 months. And what he said was, this is all leading up to next week. We get Street Profits versus DIY for the tag titles. But tonight we're going to determine who the next number one contender is with a triple threat tag team match between the Garzas and the Pretty Deadly and the Motor City Machine Guns, and we get that right now. So they come out, all hell breaks loose immediately, right? Because, this is the SmackDown tag division. Hell has to break loose. They can't have just normal tag matches. So hell breaks loose. The Garzas go to the top rope, and they do moonsaults off the top rope to Pretty Deadly and Motor City Machine Guns, who are on opposite sides of the ring. So they take everybody out there, and then they do their thing where they open up the middle rope, and one of them dives through and takes everybody out again. It's a Garza special, and you think that this match is going to be a 10-15 minute tag match. It's not at all. They had the Garza specials, a little bit of Motor City Machine Guns, and then Elton Prince rolls up Sabin.
Yeah, a little backslide.
Roll up. 1, 2, 3. Pretty Deadly gets the win here. I'm all for Pretty Deadly getting the win. That's a tag team that I think needs to stand tall. Them or the Street Profits come Mania, come after, right after Mania, around Mania time. I am going to drop this though. The roll up kind of came out of nowhere, and I think it halted what was about to be a really good tag team match. When you have 3 hours of SmackDown, why not give me more great tag team action over like the 50,000th John Cena heel turn promo package? So I'm gonna drop it.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with this was Angel once again not wearing his tattoo. He's once again missed that. I'm gonna pop this actually.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm popping it for that because Pretty Deadly, even though it did come out of nowhere, the backslide, it's once again they're just kind of randomly surprising people. They're kind of catching people off guard, and I feel like that's the story that they're kind of building with them.
Yeah,
they're kind of underestimating. Everybody kind of overlooks them. You probably would have thought Motor City. I mean, you look at them, you're like probably Motor City. I mean, they're kind of the most established tag team here. And I believe Saban gets caught with the backslide, and he's like, oh, well, I kind of overlooked them. Obviously, that tag match next week, I'm a little bit worried for that. But Pretty Deadly here is the right team to win this moving forward. I'm really excited for them. Hopefully now, maybe whenever they do have that tag match, we can get a definite win.
Yeah, I mean, ditto. I mean, I agree. I'm going to drop it for the reasons I dropped it. But I like Pretty Deadly winning this. I like how they're booking Pretty Deadly, and I think that they need to be the ones coming out of this. I think they are obviously the most improved out of everybody in that tag action stuff, which, I mean, all the rest of the guys have been wrestling forever, right? So they're all really good. And Pretty Deadly's the new guys, but they've stepped up. They have stepped up to the plate, in my opinion. They're ready to go. I really just need to see Pretty Deadly get the titles or Street Profits, and then run Pretty Deadly Street Profits for a nice little like back and forth. Give me that all day, every day. So it's good stuff.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yeah, I know. Good stuff followed. Bianca Belair comes out dressed in all black. She has one final piece of business to handle here on SmackDown, basically, because she has the title stuff going on Raw. She's obviously in the title scene right now against Io Sky because of the Monday Night Raw stuff, but her friend Jade came back at Elimination Chamber and attacked her best friend Naomi, so we needed to hear about it, and I wrote down a ton here because this was really good stuff, but she says she should feel amazing. She should feel elated after her winning the Elimination Chamber and obviously Monday, right? But it's hard when your best friends are fighting. We are all so close to one another, but I have to admit that after Jade got attacked, Naomi stepped up and became my best friend when we were tag team champs. I don't believe she would do anything like this, and for some reason, through all this, it feels like I am the one who is feeling guilty and I'm losing both of my friends. So Naomi, please come out here and explain all this. Naomi comes out. She's in her bedazzled neck brace. Mm-hmm. She's also in full black. Mm-hmm. It's like a funeral out here. Mm-hmm. She comes out and Bianca asks her, Naomi, what is going on? And Naomi kind of dodges the question for a little bit.
She dances around it. Yeah. She doesn't give you a straight yes or no. It's a very, hey, did you do this or not? She does not want to give that to you.
Naomi says, this isn't what it looks like. She goes, I'm going to take you back to when Jade was hurt, or before Jade was hurt. Basically, Jade was riding your coattails a little bit is what it felt like. She was using you to basically tag on and become famous. Use Jade. And Bianca keeps going, did you attack Jade? Did you attack Jade? And then eventually it just spills. And Bianca just shuts her up. It doesn't matter. You're talking about everything except for what I want you to be talking about. It is a yes or no question, Naomi. Did you do it? Tell me the truth. And Naomi starts to cry. I mean, crying.
Yeah, they're both crying.
Both crying.
Yeah.
And Naomi goes, I did it. There you go. I did it for you. I did it for us. And Bianca starts to crying. And Bianca says, this hurts because I love you. Me and you are done. And Naomi goes, why? Why are we done? Because of her? Don't walk away. Bianca gets out of the ring. Naomi is screaming on the mic at this point. I'm sorry. I did this for you. I wish. And then the tide turns. She goes from being sad that Bianca's leaving and walking away to, I'm pissed Bianca's walking away and leaving. And she goes, you know what, Bianca? I wish I would have pushed her harder. I wish I would have pushed her sooner. All y'all, and she starts pointing to the WWE Universe, all y'all turn on me the second I do anything for my own business. It's always been that way. Bianca, you are an ungrateful bitch. And when she drops the B word, I mean, Bianca, she turns around and all of a sudden she's like, okay, well, things may have to change right here, right now. But then the camera behind her, because you can see the Jumbotron, a car pulls up. It's Jade. And it's Jade dressed in all white, covered in blood droplings, like, plastic blood. It's awesome. The gear is sick. And she storms out, and Naomi starts to run. But Jade catches her, throws her into the barricade, the announce table, the ring post, and gets her into the ring. And as she's doing her finishing move, which I forget the name too, but it's where she lifts her up really far in the air at first, and Naomi just goes, Bianca! Hits the mat, and Jade poses over her. But this was absolutely incredible. I'm popping it. Naomi has admitted to it, though. It's done. Naomi was the one to attack Jade Cargill. Bianca's crying. Naomi's crying. One of the best segments from both of their careers, promo-wise. This was absolutely fantastic. Pop.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I think it has to be the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't sit here and convince me otherwise. Bianca starts it. I mean, start off right out of the gate. Like, she's got the emotions, and her voice is trembling, and she's trying not to cry, and she's holding back the tears, and you're like, damn, this is really good. And then you get Naomi going out there, and Naomi's like, well, I don't really want to answer this. And then she's like, okay, well, I did it for you. You're like, ooh, there it is. Gotcha. You're the one. But then she starts telling you why, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, I kind of understand that to a sense. Like, you're trying to protect your friend. You're trying to do what you think is right. So, I mean, that's fantastic. But then you see the switch. The switch with Naomi is really kind of important, I think, to me. Like, it was fine. It was no big deal. I did it for you. And then that side comes out of like, no, you know what? No, I did it for myself. I didn't do it for The Rock. I did it for me, And then you get the Jade stuff. Jade came back. She looked like $1 million. She looked fantastic. She comes out. She gives Bianca the side eye. I'm going to be honest. Bianca leaves. I don't think this is the end of it. I think Bianca's going to circle back around to this once Mania's over, once she's kind of out of that title picture. I think she comes back to this. It's the only way that kind of makes sense. I think we kind of get it that Naomi and Bianca, they did it together.
Yes. First off, I just want to say this was the most interested I've ever been in Naomi. I thought that she was spectacular. 10 out of 10 performance from Naomi. But the Bianca thing, I think that at Chamber, her and Naomi were both wearing all white while Jade came in wearing all black. Tonight on SmackDown, Bianca and Naomi were wearing all black while Jade came out in all white. I just think that there are really subtle hints. The Jade side eye as she's walking out to attack Naomi. I think there are subtle hints that Bianca is still going to be involved with this. But for the time being, this was absolutely phenomenal. You can have Bianca now go to Raw, feel betrayed, feel invigorated to attack the championship, and maybe even have enough fire in her to teeter on the heel side of things going into that feud. And then Jade and Naomi can do their thing. I'm bought in on that. This is just great work.
Yeah,
Great work.
Like you said, it's the best work of Naomi by far. You kind of just get for a long time. It was just like, okay, well, she's a person that likes glow and neon and bright colors. And it's like, okay, well, now we get something here. Also, I'd argue for Bianca, at least on the main roster, it's the best for Bianca as well. I mean, this added element of Bianca, it's not just the normal stuff that you get. So it's going to be really good. And I think at the end of the day, like, we all don't like the money match isn't Jade and Naomi, it's Jade and Bianca. So at the end of the day, it's all going to circle back around, and you're going to find out Bianca has something to do with it. I can't wait.
Yeah, phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal.
Promo of the night.
I mean, promo of the week probably.
Well,
Punk.
Well, I mean, do you count Elimination Chamber still?
Oh, no, yeah, we can't count that.
I'm just asking. Still within a week.
Drew's in the back with Saxton, and he basically says that he's gonna just do anything to get after Damian Priest. And then we get a Charlotte and Byron Saxton interview, so he's kind of just going everywhere between commercial break. But Charlotte says that she warned Tiffany that after she was done playing the games, basically getting done with the Nia Jax stuff, that she was going to be everywhere, and that she wants to remind this division why she is, or that she is on top, and that this division has grown soft without her. BFAB shows up and basically says, we're not going to bow to you. We're going to write our own legacy. And so Charlotte challenges her to a match next week. So that's going to be good to see. A little Charlotte Flair action. That's always good. No?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Not much more to add. Yeah, I assume
that's basically it.
Charlotte goes over. I assume Charlotte probably somehow, some way destroys B-Fab.
You don't think B-Fab's going to pull it off?
I mean, I think you get maybe a solid 30 seconds. You get a flurry. I think you get a flurry, and then Charlotte just destroys. Yeah. Tiffany comes out for the save. Yeah. It is what it is. I was a little surprised it was B-Fab of all people, to be honest, but
good showing for her.
She needs to be on TV.
We got Solo Sikoa taking on Braun Strowman next. Solo Sikoa, the man who really hasn't done much over the past few months except for walk away after he lost the Ula Fala to Roman Reigns, and Jacob Fatu's been doing his thing. But Strowman would start the match strong, send Solo over the top rope, and he'd go to do his run around the ring thing. But Solo's too smart, throws him into the steel steps, and then throws him in the barricade. Does his running tribal cheeks attack to Strowman on against the barrier, which was pretty nice. But he get him in the ring. We come back from commercial break. He would Samoan drop Braun Strowman. I'm like, okay, they're letting Solo cook. I'm loving this. And then Strowman would eventually have his comeback. He would get his run around the ring, hit or shoulder tackle that he does. He'd get him into the ring, gets the power slam. 1-2, Tamatanga saves the day and breaks the pin by hitting Braun Strowman, which gets Solo Sikoa DQ'd. Braun wins.
No, they said no contest.
They said a no contest. DQs don't make any sense in wrestling right now. But when that happens, of course, Strowman gets pissed at Tamatanga. He starts to beat him up, which means Jacob Fatu must come out. And they're on the opposite side of the apron when they attack in the ring, and they start going absolutely crazy. They're fighting everywhere. Strowman throws Fatu or slams him onto the announce table, but Fatu pops right up, no sells it. He dives into Strowman. They carry all the way out into the crowd where there are some perfectly placed big boxes next to a perfectly placed table, and they find themselves on top of it. And Fatu's looking to do a Samoan drop, but Braun Strowman's able to man up out of it, and he choke slams Jacob Fatu off the boxes through the table. Bada bing, bada boom. You get Braun Strowman standing tall. Fatu did pop up way sooner than most people to make it feel like he's still very strong here, but I'm going to absolutely drop this. We'll get into it in a second, but I'm just going to drop this for reasons we'll get into. Pop or drop.
This is the worst moment of the night.
Yeah,
this is the worst match, the worst moment. Yeah. This is bad.
We'll just get into it because
this is bad.
Ever since Solo lost the Ula Fala to Roman Reigns on Netflix, it feels like Solo Sikoa has just lost all momentum. I get it. That's part of the story. You're trying to establish that Solo never was a tribal chief, that he never was that strong guy. But the thing is, I feel like they had done such a great job building Solo to where a lot of us felt like the Bloodline 2.0 was great and Solo Sikoa was great. But now, dude's just a flat-out loser. It doesn't look like he stands any chance to Jacob Fatu. Have they kind of squandered Solo Sikoa's momentum?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy to say. Now, I know, like you said, it is part of the story. When Solo was the tribal chief, you had Fatu being the heavy, right? He was the muscle of the group. And now that's kind of switched. Like now Solo is below Jacob, and Jacob is rising, and everybody loves Jacob, and Jacob's the strong one and everything like that. I think the surprising thing for me is they did such a good job with Solo. I'm not saying that you can't have him below Jacob, but I mean, this is it's like a screeching halt. Yep. I mean, it is. There's been no subtle. He lost to Roman. He went off TV, and that's really been it. I mean, he's come back. He lost to Braun Strowman of all people tonight. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's 2025. I mean, I don't need Solo Sikoa losing to Braun Strowman. It's really, for lack of a better term, it's just like fumbling. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. I mean, it's deliberate and it's bad.
I get that the whole point of this is the story of Solo isn't as strong as Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is better than Solo Sikoa, but like you said, it is a huge pendulum swing right now. It went from Solo being a little bit better to Fatu proving he's better, and then Solo lost to Ula Fala, and then it has just been Tama Tonga would stand a good chance against Solo right now. You can't convince me that Solo can stand anywhere near Jacob Fatu at the moment. You got to at least give us some breadcrumbs of no, that tribal chief Solo Sikoa still exists in one way, shape, or form. And I'm okay with Fatu being a lot stronger than him at times and being the obvious guy to win. But right now it feels like they don't even belong in the same ring together. So I think WWE has overcorrected almost, or just overdone the story of Solo being weak here, because at the moment I just think that he's not up to the par of being a tribal chief whatsoever.
No, and I think we all knew that. We heard the rumors, right? WWE was afraid to bring Fatu in because he would outshine Solo, was always the big thing, right? Well, then he gets here and then you're like, ooh, well, it would be nice if Solo at least, yeah, okay, Fatu is Fatu, but like you could still have Solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could still have him maybe a step or two behind. Like you don't have to have him all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I get it. You're nervous about Fatu outshining Solo, and we knew that was all going to happen, but you don't have to do this. I mean, this is bad.
Okay.
And you look at it, and I'm going to drop it again. I'm doing a double drop.
Oh, double drop. That's the first ever.
Well, I'm double dropping this because Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu, like...
That sucks.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I don't need to say anything else. Like, we already saw it
sucks.
at Saturday Night Main Event. Fatu destroyed Strowman.
Yeah,
and that was it.
They're halting Jacob Fatu's momentum, in my opinion. Like this Braun Strowman guy that... Braun Strowman had his day at one point, right? He was great. I mean, he main evented a WrestleMania one time when the COVID thing happened, and he subbed in for somebody, right? And he won the championship. But since then, I mean, he's an older version of himself. He's more injured, and it's glaringly obvious that he's not as good as Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu and these guys, and forcing him into this and trying to still force the whole monster thing over Jacob and Solo. It's not working for me anymore. It just really isn't.
No. And I mean, you look back, he did it to Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's just like, I understand, like, he has the reputation, so you could flip it and be like, okay, these people are beating the monster. So then it's like, but at the same time, like, I don't need him anywhere near any of that stuff.
But that's the only story we've ever told with Braun Strowman, is beating the monster. So everybody ends up beating the monster at some point. And it's like, Fatu was killing people.
He killed Braun Strowman.
He killed Braun Strowman.
That's
Why are
we
we already did this? Okay, we don't need to keep talking.
Spent more time on that than we needed to.
We did.
But it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
I'm going to keep saying it. It was bad.
Chelsea Green. So good stuff happening. Chelsea Green.
Dressed up like Cactus Jack.
She dressed up like Cactus Jack. You got to go see it. It's a phenomenal gear.
Shirts on the shop.
She's taking on Michin again for the United States title. The only problem is Piper's still banged up from her match earlier. And
she doesn't care.
And yeah, Chelsea doesn't care. You're the secret Hervis. You're getting paid by the hour. Get out of hour. Come on. So Chelsea goes out there, but Michin decides to drag out a trash can full of weapons like Michin does. And Chelsea's like, you know what? I'm done waiting for this. I'm going to jump out of the ring and attack her. But Michin pulls a pan out of it and smacks Chelsea with it. Mm-hmm. So Chelsea does that. And then she also stands up a chair, makes Chelsea hit that. Chelsea's taking bumps like Chelsea does because Chelsea's amazing in that freaking ring. She's absolutely incredible. But she would try to pull out a table at one point, and Chelsea would hit her and then push the table back under the ring. She's so good at all this stuff, man. But eventually Chelsea would tie her up with a rope and start throwing her around the ring with the rope, and she'd choke her with the rope. It was absolutely insane. I don't know how Michin got out of it because it was commercial break type stuff.
Yeah, it was picture. It was tough to...
Yeah, you couldn't really see it happening. Eventually,
had to watch the Pizza Hut commercials.
Yeah, Pizza Hut commercials. Michin would eventually use a fire extinguisher, spray it at Chelsea's face, and that's when Piper would get involved, and Piper would attack Michin and hold Michin in the ring for Chelsea Green to go up and hit a coast to coast that she nailed and got the 1-2. Ooh, Michin kicked out of it. It's like, that's coast to coast.
Back in my day.
Anyway, B-Fab's now here to help Michin because Piper's doing it, and B-Fab brings the kendo stick. She chases Piper away. Secret Hervis not doing a good job. She runs away. Michin then gets a table out, does the feet to face, or whatever it's called, eat the feet to Chelsea, who ends up on the table. Then Michin goes to the top rope, jumps off, puts Chelsea Green.
The table leg also gave way.
I love that.
So she's pinned up against the rope.
I loved it though.
It's like a 2K thing.
Yeah,
she's pinned up on the rope.
I loved it. But Michin eventually does like a senton through the table through Chelsea and goes for the pin. 1-2. Michin gets pulled out of the ring by a hooded figure. Like, is that Solo Sikoa? No, it's not Solo Sikoa. Sonya Deville. Not Sonya Deville either. She beats up on Michin for throws her in the ring after she beats up on her. Reveals herself as Alba Fire, dressed up in Secret Hervis gear, like a nice like suit with a pin. And she goes into the ring, and there's chairs in the middle of the ring, and she hits a Canadian Destroyer on Michin on the chairs, which is really nice. Chelsea would walk over there, 1, 2, 3, Chelsea Green gets the win here. Alba Fire makes a ridiculous return as a Secret Harvest member. I thought this was all absolutely phenomenal, man. Pop.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Michin Chelsea stuff, which we were like, why the hell are we getting this again?
Yeah.
But then the match unfolds, and we've always been a thought of, hey, it's going to be Chelsea and Piper some way, somehow. You start to get a little bit of that tonight. Alba Fire with the return of, I didn't have that on my bingo card. I didn't know that I wanted that.
Yeah.
And then I got it, and then I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. She hits that Canadian Destroyer. It looked phenomenal. It looked great. She salutes with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's going to get the greatest out of her. So that's going to be a pairing that it's like an oddball pairing, but I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see how that goes and how they kind of feed off each other. And hopefully they kick Piper to the curb, and that sets up your Mania match.
Right. It's going to be great. Like now we get this Michin stuff out of here. Throw that away for a little bit or a lot of it. It looks like Zelina Vega wants to fight Chelsea Green, which will be fantastic. But now this Alba Fire pairing is incredible. I mean, like, the second I saw it, I was like, yes, that sounds fantastic. And then you're going to have the Piper Niven stuff because you're going to have the rubbing back and forth of Piper and Alba, who are obviously not going to get along, as Chelsea probably favors Alba Fire. This is all going to lead to just fantastic stuff going into Mania. This is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's going to be really good stuff. I'm interested to see. I've always been a fan of her in-ring stuff. And the character stuff was maybe like a little bit lacking because you never really got a chance to like show that. So I'm interested to see the character stuff. Secret Harvest is a great role for her to be in.
Keep that belt on her forever, honestly, at this point. I love it. Cody Rhodes, though, the moment we all were waiting for walking into SmackDown this week. What is Cody Rhodes going to say about this little John Cena thing that happened last weekend? I don't know if you guys heard, but this John Cena guy, he's pretty big in the business. He decided to become a bad guy. Anyway, he walks out and he's got a big old shiner. Doesn't whoa. Pyro goes off, but he doesn't whoa. He just kind of sits there. He has a cotton swab in his ear because the eardrum thing. He goes, what do you say to a little girl when she asks you what happened to your face? AKA, he's talking about his little girl. And she goes, you know what? I told her a little bit of a Cody lie. I said I ran into a wall. And I guess that was actually partially true because I ran into a wall designed by The Rock, his associate Travis Scott, and by my Mania opponent, Mr. John Cena. He goes, you know what? I actually drove Cena around for 2 years on the road. I was trying to sponge his knowledge. He was a hero. He goes, one day I'm going to have to tell my daughter that a great man, my hero, gave up on all of us. John, you owe it to them. Why? I'm sure it'll be a fire speech when you tell them all. He will feel justified in his response when he gives that speech. But guess what, John Cena? There is no justification. He goes, at Mania 40, Cena celebrated with me. He told me it gets heavier every single day when he pointed to that belt. And Cody got fired up at this point because the belt was sitting in the middle of the ring the entire promo. And he picked that belt up and he goes, you are not the last of your kind, John Cena. This belt weighs nothing. John Cena, you want some? Come get some. And I got the goosebumps when he said that. That was some good stuff. So Cody Rhodes is not scared of John Cena. His rebuttal to John Cena's heel turn is basically, you want some? Come get some. Cody Rhodes is ready for John Cena, and I love it. Pop.
Yeah, I'm popping this as well.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for such a great Bianca Naomi promo, this would have been promo of the night for me. I mean, this was great. This was fantastic stuff. He even talks about, John, you thought that champion should look like you and talk like you and walk like you and be like you, and that's just not the case. Like, you think that you're the last of your kind, but you're not. And it's like, oh man, that's good. That's good. He's like, I'm this generation's John Cena, basically. You want some, come get some. I'm not backing down. This was the fire that I wanted to see from Cody. I was a little bit nervous because, I mean, let's be honest, he got his ass kicked in front of the world. It's the most viewed thing in WWE history. You look at it and you're like, golly, how does he come back? How does he rebuttal? Like you said, he's got that shiner. I don't know what's worse than a shiner, but that's what that is. That is gnarly looking. And he doesn't back down. This is the exact Cody Rhodes I want to see going forward.
Yeah, I thought for sure that they'd kind of have him come out as like a sad babyface and almost give in to the, why, John? Why? Why would you do this? You were my hero and I looked up to you and I just can't understand. And like he kind of alluded to that stuff, but at the end of it, he was like, dude, I'm not scared of you. Man, I'm not scared of you. I don't got to look like you. I don't got to walk like you. I don't got to talk like you. I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. You want some? Come get some. Let's do this. And it's like, yep, I'm bought in. Like I was already bought in because John Cena turned heel, but like Cody's got to do his part too. And we've been waiting for a feud to really ignite him, and it felt like the Kevin Owens ignited him, and now it feels like the fire is 100% lit, and now we're going into WrestleMania, and Cody is just ready to go. Cody going to Mania against Cena, bought. We get it.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. Cody's got to do his part too. We all know that John isn't going to be around every single week right now. And that's just kind of how it is, which is fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. But when that happens, like you saw with the Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud, somebody's got to pick up the ball and somebody's got to run with it. I thought it was really telling too in Philadelphia where he won last year. He talks a little bit about that. And then at the end, when he's kind of riling up, like basically, I'm not backing down. I'm not scared. The crowd erupts. I mean, the crowd is like, yeah, screw John. Yeah. And I'm like, there we go.
It is a side note. Like he was talking about how his dad, Dusty, he was scared to perform in Philly. And I didn't write it down. I don't remember the reason for it, but he was scared to perform in Philly. And it's cool to see that, like, if that's the truth, if he's telling the truth, if Dusty did have some superstitious thing against Philly, like, that's now his city. Like, Cody, that's kind of Cody's. Like, they'll never boo him after WrestleMania 40. Them watching that live in Philadelphia, like, that's gonna be their champion. And like you said, like when he held that belt up, that was his their champion again. It's like that's just a really cool moment there. It's like Cody's Cody, man. I mean, he's great.
Cody's Cody. It's going to be interesting to see how, with them going to the European tour with Cena there, how that reaction is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be the same.
They're not going to boo him.
I don't know if it's going to be the same. So we'll see how that kind of translates. But yeah, great top tier stuff from Cody tonight. Which a lot of people say Cody kind of lacks a little bit sometimes. Gets those cookie cutter promos, and people are like, I don't want to hear this crap. This was good.
This is good. You mentioned Drew McIntyre a little bit earlier. He had a match against Big Jim up next, and Jim would get 99% of the offense in here. Big Jim was absolutely going after him. He attacked right from the entrance. He tackled Drew over the announce table. He hit the Samoan drop, super kicks, all that good stuff. And literally, this is probably 4 minutes into the match. He goes for a top rope maneuver on Drew. Drew reverses it, but Big Jim's able to push Drew off the top turnbuckle. Drew falls. Jim goes for one of his splashes. Drew moves out of the way, bounces off the rope. Claymore kicks. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre gets the win here over Big Jim. And then Damian Priest, of course, attacks afterward. He just goes crazy on him with super kicks. And the Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre stuff has officially begun. We had security come, split them both up. That's sort of how this ends. I am going to actually give this a drop. I just think that, like, when you are giving me, I love the Chelsea Green stuff, but when you're giving me the fourth interaction between Chelsea Green and Michin, and you're only giving me like 3 minutes of Big Jimmy Uso and Drew McIntyre, that doesn't feel right to me in a way. And that's no disrespect to Chelsea Green. I literally will talk about how great she is till the time comes. But like Big Jim and Drew are two of your centerpieces of SmackDown. Let's give us a good match, right? This was like a 4-minute throwaway, nothing. I'm dropping it.
Yeah, it could have been something a lot bigger. If you think about it, we talk about Drew McIntyre. We've talked about it time and time again. He was going after Roman, and he was a bloodline hunter, and he was attacking Sammy, and he was attacking Jay. Well, Jimmy, like, I feel like there was stuff they could have really played on. They didn't do that.
Nope.
Jimmy did get a lot of the offense in, so that's nice to see.
I like that.
Quick Claymore. 1, 2, 3. I'm dropping it. The Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre stuff also, I mean, that didn't progress anything for me.
No.
It was kind of just like, okay.
They didn't even like get the full fight in.
No.
They fought for like half a second, and then they were split up, and like these two guys can't bust through.
And then he did bust through and like super kick him, but like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Not much else to say there, honestly.
Uh-uh.
We go to our main event though. LA Knight's taking on Shinsuke Nakamura for that United States Championship. Shinsuke would absolutely dominate early in the match, but LA would come back with his like suicide baseball drop kick that he does to the outside of the ring. He get his elbow drop, right? He get all that good stuff. Shinsuke would take him to the top rope and do like a German suplex, like a super German. And LA Knight, I don't know if he didn't rotate or nothing, but like it rotated too much, but he kind of landed on his neck. There's a little awkward moment in there. It looks really painful.
It almost looked like that move where he throws them and they flip and land on their chest, but it did not go according to plan.
Yeah, it looked
landed a little high on the neck.
Looked rough, but LA Knight got him back with a superplex of his own. Then he'd hit his top rope elbow drop. This is when the fun stuff happened, though. Shinsuke was like, yeah, screw this. I'm going to go use my championship advantage. He'd get out of the ring, go for a chair. LA Knight would walk up and steal the chair. And right before LA Knight, hit him with the chair and got himself disqualified, Charles Robinson, being the great referee he is like, LA, hey, going to get yourself disqualified. You want to win a championship? Probably shouldn't do that. LA's like, oh, you're a smart man. But while he was talking to the ref, Shinsuke elbowed him, threw him back into the ring. Shinsuke would bring the chair back into the ring, and he'd hold it up, but Charles Robinson'd goat again, and it's like, no, I want that chair. Steals the chair from Shinsuke, and LA Knight walks over there, and he's in between both of them, and Shinsuke cocks up his face and then spits with the mist, but LA Knight ducks it. Charles Robinson eats the mist right to the face.
Face full of red mist.
Baby Nate, goat, absolute goat. But he rolls out of the ring because obviously he's dead. And Shinsuke hits like this weird super scissor kick thing where he like steps up onto LA Knight and scissor kicks him.
Cool.
It was pretty cool. It was like a guillotine scissor kick.
If they did that more often, that'd be badass.
Yeah, it was like I think they should call it that, like a guillotine kick or something. But he hits LA Knight with that, but realizes, oh no, I screwed myself. I just misted the freaking referee. I got no one here. So he's like, okay, well I guess I'll just go get the chair again. But LA Knight beats him to it, throws the chair down, BFTs Shinsuke Nakamura onto the steel chair, and a ref heroically runs out to the ring just in time. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight defeats Shinsuke Nakamura, recaptures the United States Championship to seemingly take that into WrestleMania. This is 100% the right move. I'm very happy they did it. Pop.
Yeah, it's 100% the right move. We had kind of high hopes for Shinsuke when Shinsuke came back and he took the title, and you're like, okay, awesome. This is fantastic. And they proceeded to drop the ball. You look at the last, 3 U.S. title holders. You had LA and Logan Paul and Shinsuke. The only one that was really that good of a run was LA Knight. He's improved in the ring vastly. I think that's kind of underrated from him at this point. But he's fantastic on the mic. We all know he's got history with a bunch of people. This is exactly what you want. Was a little bit unsure of his path going forward in terms of Mania stuff. So this shores that up. Right call, 100%. Not really much else to say about that.
Yeah, WWE. This is going to go down as WWE fumbling Shinsuke Nakamura again. I really like his new character, but I do agree over the past few months, the dude's just been wandering around in the back doing nothing. Look, LA Knight is very, very over to this day. He's just a personality on the mic. He's a for sure pop every time he walks out. It's smart to have that man walk into WrestleMania as your U.S. champ. Hopefully they can get some feuds going. I would love to see Big Jimmy Uso in that spot, and we get LA Knight versus Big Jimmy Uso going into WrestleMania. But no matter what, putting the belt back on him right now is the correct call. Bada bing, bada boom. LA Knight's your champ.
And they kind of hinted at that a little bit, I guess, with the Elimination Chamber qualifying match, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it LA, him and Drew?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, yeah, fantastic stuff. I don't really care who he feuds with the Mania and builds up. This is the right call, and anything's going to be better than what we would have got.
Agreed. We gave 13 out of 20 pops to this one, which is what, a DF? So that's about what it was.
13 out of 20 is 65%.
65%. So a D minus, or right in the middle, D. So that's about what the SmackDown was. This was nothing to write home about. SmackDown needs to go to 2 hours. It's really that simple. But we're getting to Mania season. Raw was great. I think Raw on Monday is going to be spectacular. So can't wait for that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it pretty much you had LA, you had Cody, and the Bianca Naomi stuff.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, thank you all for stopping by our live stream. Once again, we do live stream on YouTube, youtube.com/@CODWrestlePod. It's a lot of fun. We do SmackDown, Raw, and PLEs, and we even do some WWE 2K25 like we did today. So be there for that. But follow us on all of our socials at CODWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. We have a link tree in our bio. It's got all of our bios or socials there. Go follow all that, comment. We'd love to see you there. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.